everybody. Here we are. We are on episode number 5 weeks in a row. And it's a consistency that I've never personally done.
I would have
before.
thought we'd have got canceled before we got to the fifth one.
It's amazing. It is amazing that we're even still here, you know, and we haven't been chased with torches and pitchforks and all that kind of stuff. But don't worry, folks, because we're going to keep going until we do. You know, don't short us just yet. We are on the way. We are on the way. But yeah, 5 weeks. We've had some great guests up to this point, and just some success that we've kind of been having. We're almost, I think we're at like 195, 196 subscribers.
Sweet, yeah.
Nice. In 4 episodes. I think we've got like 1,600 views over 4 episodes. We've got a bunch of likes, a bunch of comments.
Keep them coming.
On our YouTube, on our TikTok, we've got around 100 or so downloads on different podcasting sites and stuff like that. So we're really starting to catch some traction. And it's thanks to y'all. I want to thank y'all very much for just kind of sticking with us. Struggling through some of our issues and just supporting us in this kind of content that we're trying to put out and just kind of brighten everybody's day up. A lot of laughs, some supportive type content, you know, and uplifting content. We're just having a blast doing it, and we're able to continue doing it because y'all are watching, and we appreciate that very much. Kind of keeping with the theme that we've had, though, as far as really good guests coming on, we are not going to short y'all today. We have got another fantastic guest, a Wayne Baskins. Derek and I just met him this morning. Brian, you met him before anybody and said he had to be here. Why don't you tell us why you called us up and said that?
Well, thank you, Chris. Back about a month and a half ago, I was on a work trip in Atlanta for a safety summit that we attend, and they had a portion there on Tuesday morning, I believe, that was pretty much about first aid in a recovery residence, and that was the portion that Wayne was speaking on and teaching about. And you know, I was honestly enough sitting there scrolling through Facebook when he gets up on the platform to talk and checking my likes.
I need to see you in my office
on TikTok.
On Monday.
You weren't there, so it was easy to scroll. And just as soon as Wayne gets up and starts to present his presentation, he grabbed my attention with his humor, and I literally put my phone down, leaned back into my chair, and started paying attention to this guy. And I was blown away at his delivery and his sense of humor and how he was able to get a point across about safety and illustrate it with humor, and very successful in getting my attention, which is not that easy to do. And so I remember I looked over at Jessica, my boss, and I said, got to get this guy on the podcast. And at that time, there wasn't a podcast. No podcast. We had the name. Yeah. We were working on getting the equipment.
Yeah, we had some tables and nothing to put on them.
The multi-million-dollar studio was not what it is
about $20
today.
Worth of stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So we were working towards this idea, and Wayne was like one of the first that we had the idea of getting on. And so I approached Wayne after he come off the stage, and random stranger in Atlanta, Georgia, walk up to him, hey man, you did a great job. Can I get your number? I've got something really crazy I want to talk to you about, but we don't have time to do it right here. So when you got a few minutes, give me a call.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And I knew he was an advanced EMT at Grady Memorial Hospital, which was funny to me because I had just walked downtown the night before to go eat dinner, and I seen the hospital right there where we were staying at the hotel right beside the venue. And I was like, man, that's a huge hospital. Fun fact.
I don't like where this is going already.
You know who was born?
Oh, my God.
At Grady Memorial Hospital?
I don't.
Who?
I don't like this.
Who was born?
A lot of people.
Kanye West.
Really?
Really?
That is a fun fact.
That is a fun fact.
Now, have any of you seen Sanford and Son? Y'all remember Fred's friend, Grady?
Yeah.
Yes.
Grady died at Grady.
No.
Yeah, he did.
You gotta be.
Grady died at Grady. Yeah.
It's before your time, Will.
No,
Yeah.
I know this show. I've seen Sanford and Son.
Grady had a heart attack and died at
He had a
Grady.
son named Lamont.
That was Fred's son.
I've seen the show.
We're very, very, very honored to have Wayne advanced EMT at Grady Memorial Hospital. Wayne has a lot of hats. His life looking at it as a pie. Wayne, tell us a little bit about the pie.
The pie, it's it was a good time down there.
We had a good time,
and that was a nice little bombshell you dropped on me. And good delivery on that.
I can't believe
something crazy. I want to talk to you about it. It's gonna be big. Here's my number. See ya. And so I had like a day and a half to simmer on that.
I got a question for you, Wayne, before you proceed.
Yeah.
Why did you save his number and not throw it in the trash?
That's my question.
Well, I didn't hit the actual confirm delete.
Okay.
So
I'm sitting here thinking if
I legitimately was calling and like, who is? I thought it was somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but it's just great to come down here. I mean, you guys are awesome. That was a funny story about that morning. For that, it was for Georgia Association of Recovery Residences, of which I work at a recovery residence, which we can talk about a little later.
Sure.
But they'd asked me to do a presentation down there, and they said, it's gonna be like 60 people. No big deal. It's just like a big AA meeting.
Right.
So I was like, fine. And so I'm sitting in the back as they're having to roll more and more tables out to the floor.
And they did, man.
It was like 120 people when it was said and done. And so like,
that's not 60.
That's
no,
double.
it's not
That
at
is
all.
That's
Carry the
that's
four.
double.
That is double.
That's double. I'm pretty sure. 60.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
That checks out in match.
That's wild.
But yeah, so I'm sitting in the back like that kid in the chopper in Apocalypse Now when they hit the LZ, like, I'm not going. And then they picked me out on
Pushed you
stage.
out,
But I had a great time, and it was really well received, and I'm so glad you reached out to me.
I'm so glad you answered.
Me too. Well, but yeah, the pie. I guess if I had to present me as a pie, I've got weird analogies.
Come on with 'em.
I like it.
But if I had to say the biggest slice of my pie, I'd say probably is big nerd,
Oh my gosh.
sci-fi geek.
Oh my, we talked about Star Wars for probably 25 minutes this morning.
I mean, I can't deny it.
That's the biggest
Yeah,
slice?
astrophysics,
It should be.
astronomy,
It should be
sci-fi
the
literature,
biggest slice.
books, movies, gamer. After watching
Love it.
Stephanie last week, which was really, really
She
inspirational.
did an amazing job.
She was talking about being authentic and true and not fake. And so, this last couple of years, I've been trying to really make a press into that. And there's no denying, I'm a card-carrying nerd.
Yes.
So
Now it's 2 versus
but-
2.
but-
What
for-
was the first
for-
thing you guys did when you pulled up this morning? Chris goes out and starts looking at
he
your
started looking at my bumper stickers.
Yeah, I was
like,
looking at the stickers on
got
cars,
it.
like, oh, that's Mass Effect,
Firefly,
you know what I mean?
Mass
Star
Effect,
Wars, yeah,
Star
okay.
Wars, yep, Stargate.
Yeah.
So, for anybody listening to this, they're gonna be like, "What shocker?" Duh.
Yeah.
But I guess the next biggest piece of the pie in the Wayne pie.
The Wayne pie. I hear
would
it's
be-
good eating.
It's best on ice cream. My last name is Baskin, after all. So
Hey, I like what you did there.
Yeah.
Any relation to?
don't say her name. No, I used to, all growing up, it was like, hey, Baskin, where's Robin? Ice cream man. And then that
There's like a
godforsaken
whole nother
Netflix
too.
show
Then that
came out.
Netflix comes out.
Yeah.
And I was-
I'm never gonna
The
physically
week that came out, I just
recover
thought,
from
oh
this.
my God,
Life is screwed now.
this is gonna suck. But no. So the next piece of the pie, I'd say, is I'm a dad. I'm a good father.
Yes.
I raised my son. I got full custody of him, I guess, when he's 8, 9, and we are just like that.
That's cool.
How old your son now, Wayne?
He just turned 32 yesterday.
Nice.
Well, just date them.
Happy- Happy late
Goodness
birthday,
gracious.
I'm not trying to.
We
I'm
get
just,
Junior Baskin.
Yeah.
Happy late birthday, Junior Baskin.
Ryan.
Ryan.
Ryan is his name.
Ryan, happy birthday,
Yeah,
Ryan.
he is just all the best of me and none of the worst. He's
I love it.
I love him. Third, these are all probably about a 1 or 2 percentage difference in size. The wedges get smaller as we get on the backside of the pie. But third, I am an alcoholic and addict. Have been all my life. I've had good times in sobriety, bad times in sobriety, but both sides of that coin, negative and positive, have been probably the most impactful and rejoiceful and horrible times in my life. And I can't deny that's what defines me.
Yeah.
And we can talk a lot about that because I've got a lot to say about that.
I like the analogy you used about the good and bad sides of the coin for sobriety because in addiction, there is no coin because you pawned the coin to get high. The good and bad side, the coin is gone. There's no more coin.
Where's my coin?
The drug dealer
Yeah,
took the coin.
yeah. You know, instead you got like a.
I didn't have a coin, but I would have pawned yours.
Yeah.
I'll
You
help
pawned
you
yours
get it.
first.
And mine.
And then, yeah.
And then I'll help you look for it.
Yup. We are good at that. Yeah. Pawn shops are your friend.
I seen something the other day about a pawn shop that said, "Old man treating you bad, we'll take his gold." What? You're instigating thievery.
Yeah, well, you know.
Onward.
Onward and upward. No, then there's Marine Corps slice in there. I did 6 years in the United States Marine Corps. Which
Thank
I'm
you
very
very much.
proud of.
Yes.
Thank you for your service.
You know, thank you.
We celebrated July the 4th last Tuesday because of men like you. And I just, speaking for all of us, man, and speaking for this country, I'll go ahead and say it. Thank you so much for your service.
Appreciate
man.
you saying that.
That's
yeah,
huge.
We mean that.
Very huge.
Yeah. That was a really, really interesting time there. I got stories there too. So, but also, of course, like we said, I'm an advanced EMT with Grady. So EMS has been an interesting chapter of my life for about 8 years now. And then I guess that's about the pie. You got crumbles after that.
All
so,
right.
Oh, yeah.
So we can grab a spoon and dig on in wherever
Man,
y'all are
yeah.
interested. And
What years were you in the Marines?
I was in beginning of '89 to '95. So I was
So was
Desert
that
Storm,
Desert Storm?
Desert
Yeah, that's
Storm,
what I
First
was
Gulf
thinking.
War,
Yeah.
and then I took part in Operation United Shield, which was the back end of that whole Black Hawk Down up
Yeah.
in Mogadishu, Somalia.
Yeah.
So and just to clarify, I was in the Air Wing. I was a power plants mechanic
Okay.
on the Aviate-B Night Attack Harrier.
Okay.
In VMA 214, the Black Sheep Squadron. So the old world famous Black Sheep Squadron from World War II, Pappy Boyington, and those guys.
Wow.
So it was really neat being in the Black Sheep Squadron, and it was kind of ironic. I've noticed, like God laughing at me throughout my life, that I always identified growing up as the Black Sheep.
I knew it.
Because
That was my first thought too when you said the Black Sheep Squad.
Yeah, I mean, we moved every 2-3 years growing up, and so I was always the new kid on the playground, the new kid in class, and just always the black sheep. And in my family, being my mom and dad both managed to miss out on the alcoholism addiction bug, I guess.
Okay.
Definitely on my mom's side of the family, but so I had a great upbringing. Middle class America, so I was the black sheep there too.
Yeah.
So I was a troublemaker.
Let me ask you a question. You said
Yeah.
you said that you always found yourself as the new kid on the playground. Was it to where you if you were on average moving, let's say every 2 years?
Yeah.
I would imagine with your personality and the way that I was drawn to you, and I know other people have been, you kind of made friends.
Well,
you
that
kinda
was
settled in.
That was an
and then-
acquired skill that I think came as a result of moving around so much, because it became, I had to read the playground,
Right.
and if I wanted to fit in and get in the cliques, I had to learn how to read people, and I found that you make people laugh is the easiest way to make friends, and so and that's something that it has its both sides of the coin,
Right.
because as a result, I'm really outgoing. I've got a lot of friends. It's easy to make,
To meet new people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But you don't get too close, because when I move, it hurts if you've made friends, and so I learned maybe subconsciously, I don't know, but growing up, and I just certainly don't have a monopoly on that. And you find in the rooms in addiction and recovery, most people, we all dealt with something like that, and I think just people in general, maybe it's a little bit more pronounced if you got the double whammy that I had, the addiction and plus moving around so much. But I mean, I certainly. Growing up, it was a very awkward kid, and I just kind of learned how to be outgoing and make friends pretty well.
You're right about learning how to make people laugh will make it easier for you to have friends, and that's why I don't have any friends.
I mean,
tried.
that wasn't funny at all.
I've tried my whole life.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Wah, wah.
Okay.
Wah, wah, wah.
We see a hook come from the station.
Just drag them off.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
man.
Yeah, it's been interesting. You know, it's kind of neat. Like I watched the last 2 episodes were fantastic.
Thank you.
You know, I won't lie that I was a little nervous coming into this because I guess you know, your last 2 guests and Stephanie was really, you know, they were not necessarily laser focused, but they have this one thing that they really excelled at and just driven, and then the basketball, you know, and all that. And I've been, you know, like a patchwork quilt of just a lot of different stuff. Yeah. And I mean, there's common threads that run all through that.
Sure.
But yeah, it's been interesting. I don't recommend anybody to do life like I did, but it's been an interesting way to get to 55. But I wouldn't change anything because, you know, I've got a really good sense of gratitude and a good Swiss Army knife of skills.
Right.
In coping and living and moving and all that served me so far. I'm on this side of the grass, so.
That's right.
Yeah.
And 55 and looking 35.
35?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I'm not complaining. Like I was joking, I told you, like I looked 12 till I was about 30, so it wasn't so much fun growing up. But now it's not so bad.
You appreciate it now.
Yeah, I do.
I get it. Yes.
And I definitely feel much. You know, I mean, I'm immature.
Me too, man.
See, you have to grow old, but you can stay immature forever.
That's true. That's true. Age,
Yes.
Yeah. Age is always going to go up. Mental capacity can definitely stay right where it's at.
Yeah, or
maybe even decline a
Yeah,
little bit if you're
yeah.
lucky. That's right.
So how did you get into the Marines?
I kind of always knew I was gonna be in the military because most all the guys in my family did at least 1 pump, and you know I've always been real patriotic growing up, and you know I've got all branches represented. It's a funny story how I chose Marine Corps though. I think we just moved back here to Georgia. Like I said, every 2 to 3 years. So we did Atlanta, Auburn, San Bernardino, Atlanta, Florida, New York, Chicago, New Orleans.
Wow.
And then I ended up in New Orleans in
Hit
high
some big
school.
ones.
Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, so luckily we did 5 years in New Orleans, so I got to do all my high school in one place.
That's
so
good.
that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we moved like 2 weeks after graduation. We moved back here. So yet again, like everybody had gotten to know, you know, gone, and we moved back here. And at the time, I think I was just starting to really pour the gas on the whole alcohol and drug addiction things. I had, ironically enough, in high school, I'd met this guy that I'd never really clicked with anybody like this before. We just thought alike, and it just clicked. And it was funny because after about 10 months or so, he was like, "Hey, I got something to tell you, and I don't know how you're going to react." And I was like, "What?" Kind of like when you dropped that bombshell on me. I was like, "What is this going to be about?" And he said, "Well, and this was, I think he was 15 at the time. Yeah, he said, "I'm a recovering addict. I've been in recovery since I was 12.
Wow.
He started using it at 8, and had gotten kicked out of like every school in New York. And I think it's just funny looking back that even back then, before I'd even really gotten started, the person I had most in common with, as far as thinking and relating to, was one of us. But long story short, so in high school, I didn't really dabble that much because I was friends with him.
Yeah.
And then when I went to West Georgia College in '86, I guess, I just jumped in with both feet. And, you know, it was like that click that you hear about in the rooms, you know, that part of me that was always having the, just not fitting in, you know, the complex of, you know, just everybody else got an instruction book to life except for me, or like everybody else.
I was just missing a few pages.
Yeah.
I felt that way too. I felt like when I went from my 6th grade year into 7th grade, like everyone got this letter sent home, and like my mom didn't tell me about the letter.
Yeah.
And then I got to 7th grade, and everybody was so different and had gotten so bigger, and I had not. And
It's like everybody else came to the party in the same car.
Yeah.
You know, and
I like
then,
that.
Sharing with
I
hide mail.
like that.
Yeah, and so but I'm going. I promise I'm getting back to that question.
No, you're good.
Like my dad used to joke. My dad used to joke. And he's like, God, every time you tell a story or something, it's got to be the Scottish tapestry of.
We can relate.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, so
That's
yeah,
what we do. Don't worry.
Exactly.
holding the conversation with me is like trying to corral a squirrel right at chicken. Just picture it.
I'm the same
Yeah.
I
way.
like that.
That's
I
my
like that.
that's my spirit animal, by the way. They hand me a squirrel from over the hedge, or
Oh, a squirrel.
well, depending on there's big creatures around. Chicken for sure, but wah, wah. Pause for coffee. Yeah. So anyway, 86. A lot of partying. I made it, I think, 2.5 quarters and got booted out of there. I flunked out of West Georgia. So came back home. My dad had bought a small office furniture company back here. And so I was working on the side with him. But I just remember I was like, I need to change something. Something needs to change. I'll do that military thing. Because about once every year, ever since high school, I'd show up in a recruiting office and I'd be like, give me the spiel. You know, I'll take
Talk
the
me
video
talk me
cassette.
into it.
I'll do it.
Let me get a
you
couple
know.
pins.
Yeah, and then
You got a bumper sticker.
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Let me get a lanyard.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd always shown up at the Army recruiting office and da-da-da-da-da. Well, I remember I was at the 24K Club on Cheshire Bridge Road one night watching, put it politely, some dancing ladies.
Okay, yeah. You were at the shoe show.
Yeah, shoe show. Yep.
Am I the only one?
Yeah. Well, and that previously that day, my grandfather and I had been talking. He'd been relating stories about his time in the Marine Corps, and so I was sitting up there, pie-eyed, you know. And I'm not originally, you know, I had high aspirations to my serving, you know, but I'm trying to be transparent and honest here today.
Yeah.
And so the final pull on that was I saw this group of jarheads walk in the club in their dress blues, and everybody flocked to them.
Yeah.
And I thought,
Yeah.
that's it right there. You know, and so I got home. I was a recruiter's wet dream because I showed up like the next day. How soon can you have me at Paris Island? And he was,
man.
yeah. So anyway,
Booking the flight right then.
I got to be honest. I can only be honest. That was what finally pulled the trigger on it. But
And he was like, "What made you change your mind?" Well, I
Yeah,
was,
no,
I
no,
was
once I
watching
decided-
Mercedes last night, and Lexus came over, and
once I decided, man, I was all in, and I went to Paris Island, and it was a rough experience, man. I won't lie, probably one of the roughest things I've ever done, but it was awesome. My time in the Marine Corps, a lot of people, have their yays or nays about it, but I got to travel around a lot of the world, see a lot of things, did a couple aircraft carrier tours, got to work the flight deck, did a bunch of air shows, and it was a great time. It was a great time. I thought about staying in at one point and making a career out of it, but I guess about 5 years in, I had looked at some of the guys that were in like 12, 15 years.
Some of those career guys.
Yeah, and just the nature of the beast, if you're in a deployable squadron, you're just not home much. And a lot of these guys are in their second, third marriage, and I'd done that all my life, moving around. And I was like, nah, I really want to try and get roots somewhere.
oh,
And so, I was grateful when I first originally joined. I kind of planned on doing one pump. I thought differently for a period of time. But I did it. I carried the flag for a few years, earned my seat, and had a great time doing it. So
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Again, we said it when you first started talking about it, but the respect that I have for men and women that have served our country is insane. I think because looking back, there was a small part of me that wanted to do that, but I was dating somebody seriously at 18 years old and didn't want to do that. Didn't want to leave, my brothers and my mother, and so I just kind of reeled it back in and said, I'm not. But I will say that it's I admire all those that have and all those that do, and the sacrifices that they endure and that their families endure.
Yeah.
It's just it's when you sit and really think about it, if you haven't done that, it's hard to imagine it. So to try to put my mind, where those folks, again, that are serving and those that are back home waiting for them and waiting for the next letter or whatever, it'll give you chills. I mean, it's huge. So again, not to beat a dead horse, as I like to say, but thank you for your service.
Thank you.
That's 100%.
And I love that you mentioned the families back home too, because a lot of people a lot of times they don't get the due process and due respect because they've got to carry that load while family members are overseas and stuff. So
that's thanks. I'll say that.
You're welcome.
So spinning off of the military part, piggybacking off of what Derek was talking about the respect for the guys in the service, I have, the same respect also for those that serve here as far as EMTs,
all the first responders,
firemen, police officers, because you have to see folks pretty much at their worst, and a lot of times that some of the worst moments of their life.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I was in a real bad car wreck years ago and broke my back and had flipped my truck a few times, and I couldn't get out, couldn't move, and there was a first responder that came in through the back of my truck, and I was panicking inside, and he climbed in and he said to me, they're going to drag you out of this truck before they take me out. You're not alone anymore. And I will never in my life forget that, man.
What year was that, or about what age were you?
I was, let's see,
early 20s.
Lily was on the way, so probably it would have been early 30s.
Okay.
It would have been 08, 09.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I couldn't. I remember it, but I didn't remember what year it was. When you get my age, you start forgetting a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Hey, dude, watch for Chris.
What are you doing, dude?
I'm finna do this ad, bro. He kept me in last week. That didn't edit it out.
If he comes down here, dude,
dude, watch for him, man. All right. Today's episode was brought to you in part by Buckeye Preferred Services, tree work and removal. If you've got a problem in your yard in the form of a tree, they're cutting out your problems. Reach Buckeye Preferred Services at 478-484-2178 or 478-290-4138. Buckeye Preferred Services. Again, their number, 478-484-2178 or 478
Hey, did I leave my phone down there?
4138. Gotta go.
So tell me how'd you get involved with
With EMS. And again, the common thread that ties all this through is, recovery. When I gotten sober in 2014, I was looking for something to do career-wise, because growing up, I'd done the Marine Corps, got out of that, and then had custody of my son, and was doing the single working dad thing for a long time, just selling insurance, working at a car dealership, doing this, that, and the other. So never went to college. Well, I had some college, but as stated earlier, that didn't go so well.
2.5 semesters.
Yeah. So anyway, I went through a sober living, the Arches, which is really great, and met some really great guys, and got through the steps, got a sponsor, started sponsoring myself, got a good foundation, and then thought, okay, you know what, it's time to pick a direction. And I thought I was either going to do something in the recovery industry, or I'd always kind of wanted to throw my hat in the EMS ring. I just thought, you know what, I want to do that. And so I didn't think about it too much. I just was like, poop or get off the pot, man, let's do something. And so enrolled at Grady University and got my basic EMT license, and then immediately started my advanced EMT, and then started working for Grady, it's about 7 years ago, I guess, 7, 8 years. I guess it was kind of like with my military decision. I was like, if I'm going to join the military, I'm going to do the Marine Corps. And I was like, if I'm going to get an EMS, I'm going to do Grady.
Which is not a small hospital.
I mean, they say that Grady
the 10th largest in the country.
Yeah. And they say
I
that.
do my research.
Wow.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
Nice.
I do my research. Thank you
Nice.
for pulling that up for us, Sydney.
Yeah, thank you, Sydney. I got a question. How long did it take you to go through the classes?
They were like 9 months each.
Okay.
Yeah, and then if
so
you go
9
on.
months for the original and then 9 months for the advanced. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And then so the way the structure goes is you got basic EMT, advanced EMT, and then paramedic. And then there's certain certifications above that. You can get critical care and things like that. But I'm advanced EMT. So on the Grady thing, they there's a thing they say that kind of every year at Grady is like 3 years somewhere else, because it's just that pace. You just get call after call after call, and it's gotten better. Staffing has gotten a lot better this last couple years, because when I first got started there, you were just running 13 hours straight through, call after call after call after call, and then they had a deal where they could hold you 2 hours or 2 calls, whichever applied. And I was my first 3 years at Grady, I was Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights, and so you can imagine. Every shift was like 15-hour shift. And
I bet.
And so you get to see just about everything at Grady. So it's a good trial by fire, and don't get me wrong. There's, it's not every day is 2 gunshots, an overdose, a stroke, cardiac arrest, and you've got some days where it's just mundane stuff, and it's not all knight in white armor riding into some days it's like another homeless guy.
Some days you actually get to eat lunch.
Yeah. But luckily, due to my time in the Marine Corps, I was very well adapted to eating whatever, wherever, whenever
opportunity
at
strikes.
whatever temperature you happen to find it at. So it's been, I guess, the biggest thing about EMS and Grady that it's a lot of managed chaos and unpredictability, which as an alcoholic and an addict, that's a sweet spot right there.
That's what we're used to.
Because you never know what that next call is going to be, or where that next call is going to be, and so it's been equal parts gratifying and horrifying and everything in between. It's a source of pride for me. It's a nice, I think, feather in the cap. Just sometimes when I ride around in that iconic ambulance, and you see the billboards, Atlanta can't survive without Grady. A lot of times, again, as an alcoholic and addict, we kind of tend to discount ourselves and be like, well, it's just the job I do every day. But every now and then, I get that, like, that's right, I'm riding the streets,
making a difference.
So
absolutely.
It's pretty cool, and I've taken this last year. I guess I've taken a step back from primarily doing 911. I've been doing a lot more non-emergent transports and stuff, just because physical limitations. I got a hand thing, and just getting a little older, and plus I usually see, I guess, what I've noticed in my time there is usually at about the 5-year mark, you'll see people either leave or switch something up. It's just there's always been a pretty good turnover rate at Grady, just because of the pace. A lot of people come in there and then we're like, nope.
It's too much.
Yeah. Because I think from my original class at Grady Academy, there was probably like 25, 28 of us. And then as of really a year and a half, 2 years ago, there's 2 of us left.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't know if that makes us stupid or hardcore or
go with me.
Hardcore. Probably a mix of both.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Speaking on that right there, do you have that person in your life that helps you dump that stuff that you see on not to ask you to get into any specific calls or anything, but do you find yourself at home in the bathroom in the mirror putting cold water on your face and look at yourself in the mirror like, I can't believe I just saw it.
Yeah.
Do you have that person or those people that you can call and unload that stuff with?
Do, but for the longest time I wasn't utilizing them.
Okay.
And that's why, I've had significant time in sobriety twice and gone back out, and that one time in between there, I wasn't doing the things I needed to do as one of us. I wasn't taking my medicine. I wasn't going to meetings. I wasn't working with a sponsor, someone with more time than me, and somebody with less time than me to pass it on. And I wasn't sharing about a lot of this, like, oh my God, I can't believe, because when you're running calls like that, you don't have time to stop and process, and so, you put it away, and then they choose when to raise their ugly head, and I'll see something on the street or a person or another call, and it would remind me of something, and I started seeing a therapist at one point because I was having nightmares and couldn't sleep, and I was in at the time a 3-year relationship, which for reasons I won't go into didn't work out, and I wasn't talking. She didn't really want to hear about it, but anyway, so I realized that I've got to do something about this, and I'd been kind of denying the whole PTSD thing, because it's gotten a lot better, but I'd say in the EMS world, it's still kind of a little bit of that suck it up, cupcake mentality, culture.
Yeah.
You knew what you're getting into, and
just
but
another call, just deal with it.
and like I said, they've gotten a lot better, and Grady does really well with that because they've got people that they'll actually reach out to you after certain calls and say, "Are you cool?"
That's
and the
good.
supervisor will be like, "Do you need to take a break?" So it's gotten a lot better. But for the longest time, to answer that question, I wasn't doing that, and that's certainly necessary because I ended up paying the price for it, and it that's kind of stuff. Trauma, not just EMS, but in life in general.
In life in general,
have somebody.
And that's exactly what I was about to go
share and talk with, because that's been my barometer, I think, in life that I'm trying to do now. Is like I've said, that I've been really good at being outgoing and making friends, but not so good at letting people get close. And so my barometer that I use these days is kind of like how many people can tell you what's eating Wayne's lunch right now. Because historically that's been a very short list. And I've been trying to get better at that, because I've always been like, you gotta put on the happy face, make people laugh, everything's cool, when it hadn't been. And I've learned that it's okay to be hurting. It's okay to not be. So it's you gotta have somebody.
I agree 100%.
Yep.
And as you said, not just for those of you that are advanced EMTs, but in general in life for the people
or in recovery.
Just
being able to unload to somebody.
For sure.
There's something so healthy in that kind of that vulnerability, and that just honesty that says, hey, I'm not all right today, and that's okay.
Having a sounding board is kind of the way I like it.
To
get all of that out, whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
I refer to it as splinters. When I was a child and I would be out playing or something, I'd get a splinter in my finger and I couldn't get it out. The scaredest I would be to go to my mom because she was going to get that match and she was going to burn that sewing needle. And she was finna get in there and dig it out. So it didn't get infected.
Right.
Why are you looking at me like that, Chris? And she would get the splinter out. And if you don't get the splinters in life out, it becomes infected and it becomes a bigger problem than the splinter was to begin with. Carry on.
Get nervous. It's the first thing because my mom did the same thing, sewing needle and all that. Is that just to disinfect it with the match? Is that what that was?
Yeah, bro. It kills everything.
Yeah, we had alcohol, so.
I've got an advanced EMT right here. My mom did it right. Did she not, Wayne? She did it right.
Yeah, we just had alcohol.
He just spit on it.
Well, see, they couldn't give me
I
alcohol.
got my splinters out myself.
If they gave me the alcohol to clean the needle, I'd drink the alcohol. So.
Rubbing alcohol gonna rub my lip.
Gonna rub all my problems out.
Tummy.
All my problems rubbed all out.
I used the match to burn my life down.
Oh man.
Ain't life grand?
Yes, it
I'm
is.
telling you.
I love it.
You'll never think of Grady the same.
No, it's funny. Yeah, it's
Brought Kanye life.
That's it. Yeah, I don't.
Sent Grady to the grave.
Sent Grady to the
Hey, I gotta ask,
I'm
is
gonna
that
say
true?
Grady.
Is what you said true? Not about Kanye, but about Grady.
Google it.
I knew you were gonna say it.
Listen,
Google
to
it.
the internet.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Listen, serious business. Those of you that are watching, Google if Grady from Sanford and Son did not have a heart attack and die at Grady Memorial Hospital, and leave us a comment and let them know.
We're counting on you.
We're counting on you.
Yes, please.
And by the way, since we're speaking on the podcast, Ricky, the shirt I'm wearing is for you. It is a Bucky shirt, wearing it strictly for you, and the code is A74. You have to text me A74 to let me know that you saw this.
Dude,
Okay?
I like how you did that.
You like that?
I like how you did
We ain't
that.
trying to hear. I watched the episode. Well, then what's the code?
She got to watch it in its entirety.
I'll wait until we got this deep in.
Yeah, well, that's good though. I mean, cause I think the only real thing that we've gotten where people watch in its entirety is our TikToks.
Yeah.
And we didn't do one for this episode, which is a little
And tell
crazy.
them why we didn't.
Well, so
I had a really good idea.
Yeah. So and we have, we did one for Ben. We made a TikTok about it, promoting it. And we did one for Stephanie. And we had these scripts, and they were very good. And
we
very
come
funny.
together and we share the ideas. Chris and I. Derek, unfortunately, is not able to participate in most of them because
Three jobs.
He's got 45 part-time jobs.
Yeah. Matter of fact, since we sat down and started recording, he's already been to work and he's back now. He's that fast.
He's technically on a vacation time right now to do this podcast.
I put in for 5 hours of vacation to be able to do this.
He's a bad man. But no, Chris and I will talk about the ideas that we want.
Spitball, if you will.
We've been real good at each having pretty good ideas, and I had a real good idea for your episode.
Okay.
I couldn't get him on board.
Okay. Damn it.
I was going to, when we got off work Thursday, come to a local hospital, and I was going to have him in the parking lot filming stealing an ambulance.
Yes.
You mean borrowing?
Yeah.
I would have brought it back.
I don't think that's actually what they call it.
But it would have been
borrowing.
technically it would have been stealing, and
Yeah.
Chris wouldn't do it.
Oh, man.
Apparently,
Light him up, man.
Apparently, he can't have any more felonies.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, apparently I
No,
can't afford
that's-
another
that's
felony. Yeah. Listen, I know you call it borrowing without permission. That's not what the judge calls it.
Okay.
Every time in my position, the judge says, "Chris, that's stealing."
Yeah.
I'm
We
glad.
call that
I'm
grand
glad
theft
you
auto.
didn't ask me to get involved. I may have been like, "It's no big deal."
You'd have been down with
Like
it.
you're gonna leave a note
gonna
right out there
bring
on
it
the
back.
bench. We'll bring it right back. We only need it for 10 minutes.
If you had any
Like
time
a
off, I
parking
would have
lot
let you
fender
film.
bender.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Like
I
a
did.
parking lot
Yeah.
fender bender. You know what I'm saying?
All you got
Sorry.
2 or 3 calls going on at the moment.
Now watch,
Yeah.
the next time I have a DoorDash to the hospital, they're going to be like, "Can I talk to you for a minute?"
Yeah.
They're gonna have security flag you down as soon as you turn in.
Yeah, that's him.
We know this guy. We know this guy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Be out behind the hospital on the mic.
That's him. I know that's him. I recognize him.
Hey, we had a friend, man. We had a friend in high school that he had a copy of that, and he had it on cassette, and he would put it in his truck, and he would pull up to like a gathering in a parking lot or something, and he would play that.
Nice.
I
mean,
remember that.
Hilarious! Shout out to Glenn Oliver.
So tell us if we can get away from Sanford Southern for a minute.
Hey, okay.
You
I'm sorry. I keep pulling us
you
back.
do realize-
Yeah.
you- no,
we
I-
got
here-
to come up with something different.
Here's the thing though. You know what I'm gonna do tonight on my radio show, don't you?
Nope. Tell
I'm
us.
gonna play the Sanford and Son theme in the background whenever I give the sponsors at some. I've got to do that.
got
Just to purge it.
I feel like that
Yeah.
this was just spoken into me by us continuing
got
to go
to,
through
man.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, what I was going to get to. So tell us if you can, Wayne, how you got involved with the recovery aspect and what you're involved with there. I know you got the bracelet on there.
Yeah.
If you will, give us a little backstory on that, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess I had to realize I'm gonna be involved in addiction and alcoholism, whether I like it or not, because it's what I am. It's part of me. I had to finally accept it that God didn't give me a dimmer switch.
Right.
You know? I'm either on or off, and in every other aspect of my life, I've gotten some pretty good accomplishments. I've been responsible. I've been, Cub Scout, Weeblo, Boy Scout, Marine, single father, EMT. Not like tooting horns or nothing, but that is evidence
Hey,
that.
toot, brother.
Yeah, I mean, it's evidence that if I put my mind to something, I can accomplish it. I've done that. But
Right.
what I've found is that when it comes to alcohol and other illicit substances, it's just I have an allergic reaction. And so I just realized that I'm going to be involved one way or another, and I prefer to be on this side of the coin.
Yeah.
Because it serves me and those I care about a lot of,
Much better.
much better. So anyway, when I came through this last time when I had that kind of dark period during COVID, and a lot of things were going on, and I wasn't addressing it like I should, I ended up picking up and doing what we do when the pain of being Wayne gets bad enough. I'm going to reach out for something, and I did, and quickly. Luckily, due to the work that I'd been doing prior to that in developing a network of guys, luckily that previous work that I had done saved me because they were like, "Are you done, dude?"
Right.
Are you going to get back to this?
Yeah, yeah.
And so, luckily, you know, like I've said, my son's grown up. I was single. Didn't really have a lease or anything like that at the time. And so, you know, God had made life very simple for me in good and bad ways. But,
Right.
you know, very low cost of living, not a lot of bills. And so I talked to my buddy, JP, who owns We Believe Recovery Residence in Roswell, Georgia.
Put it out there, man.
Yeah,
No,
man.
yeah, put it out there.
Yeah, and so I called him, and we kind of had it's kind of simultaneous. I was like, hey man, I need to get back to drinking from the spring. You know, I need to get back to the source of the well. I hadn't been giving back. I hadn't been working with younger guys. You know, sharing the experience that I'd had, and so I need to be around some new sober guys.
And you had known JP from the past?
Yeah, we've been buddies all along.
Right.
We'd gone through sober living originally and together. And so I said, hey man, can I come to your sober living? And he was like, yeah, by all means. You know, he said that we could use somebody like you. And you know, because I'd gone back out, but I had sober time. I do know how to live day to day.
Right,
Sober
right.
and free, so long as you practice it. And so it was one of the best things that I ever did. You know, I got into sober living and just started helping other guys get and stay sober. And then after some time, you know, I felt my roots needed a bigger pot to grow in. It was time for something else. And then we again kind of had a simultaneous thought that I got a little bit of spare time on my hands, because one nice thing about EMS is you work long shifts, but you know, essentially at Grady I'm doing like 3 12s, 3 13s in a row, so it's 3 on 4 off.
I got you.
So it's pretty nice, and again, God has done some really amazing things for me in my life, and made life very simple and low cost of living. And so I used to work a lot of overtime and try to make a lot of money and try to do this, that, and the other.
Right.
But I can make ends meet. I can do what I need to do humbly on 3 days. And so for me, those 4 days off are much more. You can't put a price tag on it. That I can do some other things in the recovery community. And you know, like I've stated, I've also tried to branch out into doing some work with film and TV, just to kind of get off the truck, because I'm getting a little burnout on that. But yeah, so he offered me a position with We Believe Recovery, and I'm an assistant program director there. We've just opened up, or he just opened up an IOP and PHP program called Atlas, which is just starting, and he said they possibly got plans to open more. And so that's kind of a neat opportunity that's opened itself up to me. But it's, you know, that's where I have to be.
Right.
I have to be up close and personal to the early recovery thing. I used to think for the longest time that I tried to be, I guess, you know, some people can get sober and hit 2-3 meetings a week and then go off and set the world on fire, you know, and do things. Not so much for me, you know. I need to be close to the source. I need to stay involved, to be reminded of what happens, because I've proven time and time again that, you know. But so that's how I got involved with that, and it's just, it's funny. I could not be happier or in a better position. You know, on paper it might not look like much, but that doesn't matter, you know.
I think if I were involved in something like that, I think, you know, if you can help someone from your past experiences and you putting yourself out there and you know, giving, and I guess you would say giving back, that's got to be rewarding. That's not why you do it. Part of it is to help yourself, but at the same time, I think if you touch one person, if you help one person, I think that would give you a sense of satisfaction in the fact that you help guide this person on the right path and possibly help them stay there.
Absolutely.
That's huge.
And I'm glad you put it wonderfully, because I mean, I tend to, I guess, as I was explaining, it was all, you know, about what I got to do to stay sober. But yeah, I mean, there's such gratitude and joy I get when I work with somebody, and all I'm doing, it's not like I have any sorcery or magic. I'm just passing on what was taught to me, and I equate it to, again, analogies. y'all seen Karate Kid?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I equate it to, it's all, for me, AA is just all Miyagi-Do karate.
That's right.
Wax on, wax off, paint the fence, sand the floor. Because remember when he comes to Miyagi and he's like, I'm not painting another fence. I'm not waxing another car. When are you going to teach me Kung Fu? You know? And for me, it's like praying, meditating, going to meetings, doing a gratitude list. It's all these little things that individually, when myself, when I first started going to AA, and you hear it from all the other new guys, what does that got to do with drinking whiskey? You know, what's that going to do for me? But you do all those things together.
Everything.
Yeah.
And so when I just show another guy what I do on a daily basis to just keep, the obsession at bay and not think about drinking, then, and I watch that guy maybe get his marriage back or gets a car, gets a job,
Yep.
And I just realized that maybe I'm just one link in that chain, that I have just a part to play. I don't take responsibility for it.
Right.
But because this whole thing started with Dr. Bob and Bill Wilson, just two guys knee to knee at a table, helping each other stay sober. And that's how it's got to work.
Yeah.
And I do. I get a lot of joy and gratitude out of that, because I'm like, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Because that's been the concurrent theme through my entire life, through the Marine Corps, through EMS, through moving around, through being a father, through everything in my life. It's always been touched and defined by alcoholism and addiction.
So that
Both
would
sides
be
of that coin.
the pie.
The pie.
That's the pie.
And what a good pie! What a great
I'm gonna say this. I honestly use that analogy all the time with Karate Kid, all the time, because we get the same thing. What does this have to do? Why is this important?
Yeah.
I want to learn karate, paint the fence.
Right?
Somewhere along the line, someone freely gave it to JP, in which he in turn helped with you, in which you in turn helped with someone else, and they in turn helped with someone else. That's how this thing works.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Very
I love
cool,
that.
man.
I love it.
Very cool.
Fun fact: it was freely given to me. I turned around and tried to charge for it. Addicts and alcoholics don't have any money.
No,
I had to also give it away freely.
Yeah.
Not a very profitable venture right there.
I want the money. I want the money back that I gave you then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't you know? I found one guy to fall for it.
Yeah, where'd Chris go?
Your brother.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
Goodness, man.
Wow.
This has truly been.
Where are we at? We got more time, right?
Yeah, we sure can.
I wanted to ask something. I wanted to throw this at you.
Sure.
So, all the time you spend, you said you work 3 days on, usually 4 days off. What do you like to do in your spare time?
Good question.
What? In other words, if you pitch that question to me on my
Work.
on my house,
On the 10 minutes he doesn't work, he catches raccoons.
That's a true story.
that's a long one too. I won't go into,
Yeah.
but like for instance, my only day off is on Sunday, so I might like to go get a Boston butt and smoke it all day long, and make some sides for it or whatever. If you ask me what my hobbies are, what I enjoy doing, that would fall in there. As I enjoy, hanging out and chilling and grilling something or whatever. What would be something that you've got a day off, you've got nothing else going on? What are you wanting to go do? Are you wanting to go wet a hook, or are you wanting to go hunting if it's hunting season?
Okay.
I'm glad you got that one. To be honest with you, 7'2", Chris Rice. So
Yeah.
What would you want to do?
I certainly do. I enjoy getting outdoors a lot with my dad. We do hunting. We got 50 acres outside of out past Lake Oconee, out near White Plains, and I go out there. But if I got to be transparent and honest, that is part of the pie, the hobby pie.
Yeah.
But I got to go back to the nerd credentials.
That's where I
as
thought
much-
this may lead.
Yeah, we didn't talk much about things nerdy and geeky.
I like to play my
I
lightsaber.
could do like a whole other podcast just on nerdy and
Oh, is that what you kids are calling it these days?
Yeah.
old laser sword.
Yeah. No, this is where the nerd cred has to come out. Right?
Oh my god, I thought you were attacking for real. What a good sound effect.
No, I do like to cook a lot. I do cook. Being Mr. Mom growing up, that's one of my passions and hobbies.
Yeah.
We'll get the non-nerd stuff out of the way.
Okay.
Right? I'd love to cook. I'm a pretty dang good cook, I'll admit. But no, in my off time, I'll usually like read a lot, watch television, movies. I've just kind of started getting into the whole anime thing. I didn't really do. I did your tent post anime things for years, like your Akira, your Ghost in the Shell, those big things. But man,
I like Shakira.
good. I've got
Oh my God.
Shakira.
Her hips don't lie.
No, but like Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yes, absolutely.
You okay?
AOT, Jujutsu Kaisen, watched all the Naruto.
Okay, I
watched,
Fate.
oh my God,
Fate
Demon
Zero
Slayer,
and
Fate
Demon
Zero.
Slayer. Demon Slayer, I'm up on that now.
Listen,
Yeah, I do a lot of
Yeah.
that. I do a fair amount of gaming. I like open world RPGs. I used to do the shooter thing for the longest time, but then I just got tired of 12-year-old Korean kids making me look bad.
Oh man, listen,
Very bad.
I've definitely hit the point where like I was good at like Call of Duty growing up, and
Yeah.
now I'm just old
No.
and terrible. I can't
So
do
I'm big into like like Skyrim, Mass Effect, a lot of those, some JRPGs. But yeah, I gotta.
Japanese role playing.
Oh, I know.
Done any Near Replicant or Near Automata?
I have not played any of the Niers.
They're pretty cool.
I got it on back order.
Do you? Okay.
God, I hope not.
Coming from GameStop.
Because you can get it 50% off on Steam right now.
Not a brand new
He lied to me.
He doesn't know
yeah,
what
so,
Steam is, so it doesn't matter.
I guess I'll attribute that to my my youthful looks, my youthful nerdy habits.
That's
I think.
it. That's
Okay.
it.
Yeah. So.
You'll like this one. I know this guy's name's Luke.
Huh?
And I told him one time, I said, Luke, your dad called me, wanted to give you a message. He said, what'd he say? I am your father.
Now listen. I really wish he just made that joke up for this thing.
Yeah.
I
But
really
he
did
didn't.
that.
He really
I really did that. He
Yeah,
was
that is
there
a
when I
true
did it.
story.
Yeah, he was there when I did it.
That's a true story. This kid Luke, and he was just like, he said, "Oh, yeah,
I am your father.
yeah."
I wish I had the mic and headphones, though. I'd have to put the headphones on it because it sounds so much better than it did in just open air. I am your father.
Yes.
It would have been even cooler if he'd went back. He'd hit me back with.
Yeah.
Then we're having a little.
Why does it have to?
Little, we're having a little
Jazz hands.
We're having a little set it off. a little set it off fight. Step it up.
I can't cry in another episode. I can't do it.
With the I am your father.
I never saw that part.
It's in the extended condition. It's the
That's
extended.
you gotta buy.
Y'all
the
remember
full
the Saturday Night
collector's
Live?
edition for that. Gita. Oh,
The German dancer.
yeah. Michael Myers Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
I'm as happy as a little girl.
Yeah. Oh man.
Pet my monkey.
How did we get to this?
I apologize.
We were definitely not here
Extremely.
30 seconds ago. I'm not sure
so
where.
sorry.
The train is off the track.
No, but
Oh, my
and
goodness.
to get back, one thing I neglected is Saturday nights, which is tonight. Saturday night is movie night with me and my son. Over at his place and,
Nice.
and
Oh,
his
that's
fiance.
awesome,
And we are currently going through the Wes Anderson catalog.
Okay.
We're Wes Anderson film fans. But yeah, we get together every Saturday night and watch a movie together. And
That's cool, man. Shout out Ryan.
Break bread.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And
He
Ryan's
sounds
fiance.
like, he sounds like a really cool dude.
He is
He's your
cool
son,
dude.
so he has to be, right?
He's an awesome dude. He's like I said, he's my life.
I heard that, brother.
Awesome.
Hey, real quick, just if you know of any anime, I want to find out how much of our audience actually recognize any of the shows that we said. Any fans like that can comment
Hell's Paradise.
and let us know.
Tokyo Ghoul.
What you?
I'm counting on you, Christian. You know this stuff. Come on,
Yeah, it's
son.
good. Well, Christian is probably the
proud.
coolest person ever.
Facts.
That's who we're counting on as well. Well, look, this has been an absolute pleasure.
100%.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, this has been great.
It's
Man.
been so nice. Thank you again for coming all the way down here.
Yeah.
And sitting down and talking with us for a little while. Just an absolute pleasure. Good to meet you. And good to kind of hear more about you and kind of the journey you've been on and just all the stuff the countless ways, you kind of give back to the general community, the recovery community, and just all the things you do for other people. It's very uplifting to hear those kind of stories, and we sure appreciate it.
Yes.
For everybody listening, we are climbing the ranks. As we said last week, we are the #1 podcast that operates out of this basement in Lawrence County.
Yes.
We're holding it down.
And I think we're still there. Ratings keep going up. Again, you can find all of our socials at the logo at the end of this video. Please hit the subscribe button. It's in the bottom right of the video square that you're currently viewing. If you haven't, share it. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a friend.
Yes.
If you didn't like today's episode, share it with an enemy.
Yes.
There's no reason not to share it
Yes.
with somebody. But be sure to subscribe to the
idea.
channel, like and comment, and let us know
idea.
what you like, what you do like about it.
If you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any other platform outside of YouTube, jump on YouTube when you have a minute and subscribe anyway.
Yeah, don't even watch
if
it.
you're not watching it on the YouTube channel that we have out, Coffee and Ketchup, jump on there when you can. When you get parked, do it safely. Don't text and drive like some people I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
I was getting with Wayne this morning as he was heading down, and I'm texting him, knowing he's driving. I'm like,
I pulled over.
well, I didn't hear back from you on the last one.
Let
so
the
I said,
record show.
Yes.
Let the record show.
I pulled over.
Let me call him.
But yeah, definitely.
Voice to text.
I know he's driving.
Definitely, though, if you are one of the people who listens on the various platforms of just audio that we are on, jump on over to our YouTube, subscribe. You don't have to watch the video version, but the more subscribers we get, the more the algorithm shows it to random people, and the more opportunity we have to kind of get our channel out there to strangers and let them kind of enjoy what we've been enjoying for the last 4 or 5 weeks. So just, if you don't mind, hop on over there, give us a quick subscribe.
And how much is it going to cost them to subscribe?
Again, our subscription price is still free. It's still $0. You can do it for nothing, for absolutely nothing. A few mouse clicks, a few phone taps, and that's it. And you're in. You're in there.
I'm actually subscribed to it, so if that tells you anything about how
True.
simple it
That's
is.
true. If
It's
you
about
can't
true
figure it
freedom.
out, grab somebody younger. I'm sure they can do it. I just had to do it to both my parents the other day. Both of their notifications were turned off, and they're like, I didn't get the notification, Chris. And I had to go in their phones and make sure that their notifications were turned on. There's no shame in that. If you're of the upper echelon generations, we'll say. We'll just, ask a child or a grandchild, maybe a great grandchild, depending on where you are.
Your parents sound just like my mom.
Yes.
Brian, something's wrong with my phone.
I need you over here.
I didn't get that notification.
Brian, just come on over and fix it, Brian.
That thing didn't come on YouTube there.
Yeah,
She said
just
would.
come on.
Another
Fix it
reason
now.
I appreciate my son. Just saying.
Hey, no
man.
kidding though. July the 4th, we were over there celebrating the 4th, and she said, "I'm gonna need you to look at my phone when we get finished with dinner." My Ring doorbell.
She was so serious.
And when y'all came up, I did not know y'all were out there. My Ring doorbell did not let me know. Mom, I'll be glad to take a look at it when I finish this delicious burger. I get her phone, and guess what? Well, Mom, you're not logged in.
Well, I don't know who logged me out.
Well, I didn't log out.
I don't know how that could have happened.
You think them folks did it that broke into my Facebook?
It probably was the Facebook bandits.
Probably was the bandit of Facebook.
Pirates.
That's it.
Pirates.
Pirates.
Oh my goodness. But anyways, thank you all again so much.
Thank you, Wayne, man.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
thank you guys
so
for
much
having
for
us.
coming
It's
down.
been
This has
great,
been an
man.
absolute treat.
Really enjoyed it.
Wonderful meeting y'all.
But y'all tune in for the next one.
I
will. This one is going to come out obviously now, and then we're going to keep on doing them Mondays at 12. We're going to keep this thing rocking and rolling. Thank you for all the support. Y'all have a good time. See you.